The best way to understand why people fall for oppressive governments is to look through all modern totalitarian states. Let's start off with the Soviet Union. During World War I, the Russian Empire was losing the war against Germany. At the same time, the Russian economy was collapsing due to all ties with Europe being destroyed by the war. Vladimir Lenin and his assistant Joseph Stalin disapproved of the Russian Empire being allied with the capitalist West and believed that they should not be involved in the war. As Lenin and his Soviet Party began to become popular in parliament, he campaigned on democratic reforms. Riots started taking place all over Russia due to such a disapproval of the sitting government. By 1917, the Soviet rebel militia had about 200,000 members. As the government began arresting Soviet rioters, the militia led by Lenin overthrew the government and established the USSR. But not everyone was fond of the new government. Right-wing military members and rebels who were still aligned with the old government went to war with the Soviets to get their country back. In the end, the Soviets were able to crush this army and officially conclude themselves as the rulers of Russia. After 1917, the Soviets gained control of all media within Russia. The job of the new media was to spread propaganda against capitalism and for communism and totalitarianism. The Soviets made literacy the number one problem within education because they wanted as many people to read their newspapers as possible. Within a society with a 90% illiteracy rate, it would be a bit hard to spread propaganda with printed media. People were arrested for having private radios and replaced all radios with a copper wire radio that would only broadcast stations from the Soviet Union. This was to prevent any Western media getting into the Soviet Union and to play only Russian media and propaganda. The role of a journalist was not to give commentary on speeches given by political leaders, but just to broadcast these speeches to the public. Things got even worse under Stalin. To help recover the economy, he loosened labor laws and made it illegal to quit your job or even show up late. Stalin celebrated by saying that production of raw materials was up about 93 to 108%. Anyone who worked in a mine were required to work 16 to 18 hours a day, which came to be fatal for many miners. If you did not work 16 to 18 hours per day, you'd be sent to a concentration camp. 3.7 million people were arrested for having anti-communist, Stalin, and government beliefs.